I have one of those automatic vacuum cleaners, the little hockey puck shaped ones that do the vacuuming themselves and park on the charger when they're done. I'm grateful for it. It's saved me more time than I give it credit for. It makes its way around my house, noisily, whether I'm there or not, and cleans up what I've ignored or didn't see. Sometimes I put my headphones on and try to find the vacuum, the music turned up all the way. Usually the only way to find it is by following its noises. With headphones on, it's different and sometimes a challenge, but I always found the vacuum. Toria was on her way over for a lunch we never ate. We met at the lunch table in ninth grade, where the kinda goth, kinda nothing kids sat. 17 years later, we still have lunch together. A lunch-only friendship. No bars, unless there's a wait at a restaurant we enjoy. No malls, no parties, no baby showers. Only lunch, only restaurants. Never more, never less. When we were younger, the lunches happened more, but as age came and slapped us across the face like an unwanted rain, it happened less and less. The last time we had lunch, she asked for it to be at her house, something we'd never done. And when I got there, she told me she was sick. Said it in passing, like someone saying they needed to get gas before work. She said it was bad, terminal. I immediately had a list of people in my head who deserved to die more. It was easy. She was good to everyone she met, the way a moth is. It wasn't the first time we'd cried together. Friends of 17 years, whether they like it or not, will cry together at some point. But it was the hardest we'd cried together. I had an hour before she got to my house. It was her recipe I was making. That's how Toria was. If you knew her, you learned good things. She knew I sucked at cooking, so she taught me. She gave me a little red notebook she'd written recipes in, with drawings, too. She'd made me healthier just by being her. I chopped the cucumber, bell pepper, tomato, red onion, garlic cloves, and fresh parsley slowly because I do not know kitchens. I mashed the garbanzo beans with the cool masher she told me to buy a while back. I put it all together in a bowl and drizzled it with tahini sauce. I pre-mixed margaritas. I did the dishes that were drowning in the sink. I put seasonings on the vegan patties. She was vegan, not me. And preheated the oven even though I still had plenty of time before her arrival. I sat on the couch. I thought about my parents and how I missed them and how I'd never see them again. I thought about the new dog bark I'd heard at night in the neighborhood. I went outside and saw the early stages of a summer thunderstorm above. I cleaned the counters, and all the while, my little vacuum bumped and prodded its way around my home, assisting me in my living. I grabbed it up, emptied its little plastic stomach into the trash can, put my headphones on, turned the music up, and put the vacuum back on the floor. In a few minutes, it was a rogue cowboy, and my house was its sunset. My place is big for me. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, a living room, a kitchen, and a garage. All of it so empty compared to what I imagined when I did the first walkthrough with the real estate agent. There's a sizable backyard that butts up against a portion of the St. Johns River. I can't see the river from my backyard because of all the trees, but it's there. Technically, nothing could get lost in my home. I had misplaced things, sure, but they always came back. Keys gone for days, credit cards in between couch cushions, important pieces of mail forever in the crevice between the oven and the counter. Regular places where everyone loses things and finds them just as often. I started to look for the vacuum. A playlist called Soft Piano reamed itself into my ears, and I looked in the would-be office first. No vacuum. Same for the other bathroom I never use. I checked my bedroom, my plain bedroom with not one decoration on the walls. It wasn't there. I went to the kitchen and opened the door to the fridge just to see what I'd made. It shined like a treasure in a red bowl. I'd made it for me and my sweet friend, and I wanted to try it. The vacuum could wait. I forked out a large bite and felt a chill run through most of my body. Between my teeth there was a crunch ceremony. My meals mostly consist of half-microwaved, half-cold garbage. The size of the chopped veggies, the seasonings, the sauce, it was perfect. It was because of Toria, and I would feed it to her and feel good about it. I wanted to know what song was playing, to grab my phone out of my pocket and see, but I wanted another bite more, and I jammed it into my mouth before I finished chewing the first one. I could hear the crunch of the veggies in my head even with the volume turned up. Proud of myself with tahini on my lip, I didn't realize how far away it had taken me until the music was cut short just for a second by an incoming call. I side-buttoned it through my pants, but when the music stopped playing, I heard the vacuum beeping somewhere in the house, muffled through the headphones, but still there, beeping, calling. The noise it makes if it gets stuck on something or if it gets clogged by a long string. The noise it makes when it needs human help. The beeping sounded like it was in the living room, but when I got there, it wasn't closer or further. I checked my bathroom, and it was empty. I had a headphone in each fist now, listening my hardest. The would-be office again, and then the bathroom I don't use. Nothing. I was sweating and got down on my stomach to look under the furniture, then the rest of the rooms, and all the rooms one more time. I forgot the oven was on and was convinced I was sweating solely from worry. I looked under the couch. Nothing. Then the dressers, even though I knew the vacuum couldn't fit under them. Nothing. It beeped. It kept beeping. When I got close to it, it seemed to get far. My bed. I pulled it from the wall, its legs scraping across the wooden floor and almost sounding like a dog barking, like that new one that's been barking at night in the neighborhood. I heaved on my dresser, grunting, pulling it only a few inches, only to look behind it for nothing. No vacuum. My nerves were sharp, my anxiety through the roof. The beeping was everywhere, but I was not close to it, and I was not far from it. I went through every room again, and then once more, and still nothing. I was scared. It was impossible. The lost thing's endless beeping blended in with the sound of the doorbell, and it took me a moment to realize what was happening. My friend. The thought pulled me out of a confusing hole the way a rip current pulls out a weak swimmer. "I look bad," she said, even before I got the door fully open. She did look bad. It made my chest hurt, and my stomach went to my knees. Her hair, which was usually light bulb blonde, looked gray and empty. Her face was sunken. She looked tired. She looked pretty. "Yeah," I said, "you do. It's good to see you, though." "You too, Davy," she said. We hugged for a long time. Could have been 2 minutes, could have been 10, but it's what we needed. Neither of us cared to let go. "What is that?" she said, and with her voice so close to my ear, I could hear the echoes of sickness and death and something forever pulling at my friend. "You know my vacuum, the little automatic one?" I said. "Yeah," she said. "It's called a Roomba, you weirdo." "No, mine is a Goovy, not a Roomba." She laughed, and it made my skin feel soft. I hadn't realized my body was tense until I heard her laugh. Okay, she said, "what about your Goovy?" "I lost it," I said. I felt dumb. "What? I can literally hear it beeping in there." She nodded in the direction of the would-be office, same place I first thought it was. "I know, it's insane. I lost it for real. It's been beeping like it's stuck on something for an hour. Maybe more. I feel crazy." She laughed again, but it was followed by a rough cough, her neck veins sticking out further than I thought they could. My friend coughing and the beeping from the lost vacuum made me feel like there was a hole everywhere I stepped. "You need help looking for it," she said. No, we can sit and chill. I started making lunch and it's basically ready. You don't have to help me." "Dude, I'm not going to sit here and listen to that beeping forever. I'm not hungry anyway, and God knows I'd rather deal with your shit than have to talk more about mine," she said. Her eyes were missing something I couldn't put a finger on. They were still bright and blue, but something was off. Like when two walls that meet in a corner are painted such a similar color not even the painter noticed they were different. "Toria, for real, it's gone," I said, "and I don't need your help. Let's just chill." "Fuck off," she said. "Let's find this thing." We looked the same way I had before, hitting the rooms in the same order. I followed behind her. She moved slowly, not finding it. Seeing the top of her head, I knew she was starting to lose hair. I thought about the last time I'd seen the top of my own head and couldn't remember. The continued beeping from the vacuum made the empty room seem mean and unfair, and my home started to feel like something else, like some place that wasn't mine. We checked everywhere 3 times, even the garage. We did it without talking, her slow and me following slower behind her, room to room. I could hear her breathing hard, like someone in the middle of an intense workout. She coughed. I rubbed her back. We sat down on the couch. "Are you messing with me?" she said, between the deepest breaths. I wish I wouldn't mess with you like this. This is nuts. I wanted to ask her if she was messing with me, if her being sick was some joke and I was the butt of it, but I knew better. The beeping became quieter, clearly so, like the vacuum was moving farther away from us and through layers and layers of drywall. I wanted to cry. I wanted to go back to before she was sick, when we were having lunch at Ella's cafe, when her life was still good like it had always been. At that lunch, she told me about her students, the wild fourth graders, and how they were making masks. She said they went outside past the football field, with permission from the principal, of course, and into the scrub to look for palm fronds, the ones that were shaped just right. They painted them and drew on them and tied strings to them so they could wear them over their tiny fourth grade faces. She said she'd never seen them so happy, so free. Maybe she didn't know it, and I didn't say, but that's exactly how she looked talking about them. I texted her a song after that lunch. It doesn't matter which one. She texted me back and said it was the most beautiful song she'd ever heard. That's where I wished we were, Ella's cafe. Not on my couch, not in my house, not looking for a stupid vacuum. I knew my home, every nook and cranny, and this lost thing felt like a bee sting. I need to lie down, Toria said, as she was lying down. This is wild. Her head was resting on my legs, and it felt like a small, folded-up towel. I don't know if she was talking about her dying or the missing vacuum. Yeah, it's the worst, I said. It was early in the day, but the storm outside was strong enough to make it look dark. On the couch, with no lights on, we could barely see one another, which was okay with me because her sick face made my palms sweat. It started to rain hard. Thick pellets of fat water slammed themselves into the windows, drowning out the beeping, which had just started to feel like it was getting closer again, like the vacuum had found a new house to clean within the walls of my own house. We went to one of the large windows that overlooks the backyard. Toria much slower than me. She half sat on the window ledge, her hands on her knees. The oak trees leaned with their new wet weight. The palm trees dropped fronds, who landed on the soaked ground and cartwheeled away in the wind. The sky could have been called black, and few would have argued. Do you remember the first time we met? Toria asked. At lunch? Her voice harmonized with the rain, soft and tapping in water drop fashion. I said. Yeah, totally. Dennis introduced us. He said we'd get along. She laughed, pure and coughless. He was right. I remember what you were wearing, she said. You and me both, I said. Studded black belt, black t-shirt that was too small, jeans too tight, and acne, so much acne, she said. I could hear she was smiling. You, I said, you had on a fake wolf glove, like a wolf paw, all the way up your arm, not trying to be funny either. God, we were so serious about everything. High school's a serious thing, man, she said. She looked at me. I could feel it happening, but I didn't look back. Thank you for letting me be weird, she said. Thank you forever. You're welcome, I said. Thank you for the same thing. Our last lunch talk. The sliding glass door was never easy to open. I put everything I had into it, grunting and bending. Its tracks are dysfunctional and crooked. I always wanted to get grease for it, but never remembered at the store. I bet it's out there, she said. The vacuum. I bet it's not, I thought, but went anyway. Outside, onto the screened-in porch, sideways rain blasted me and I was cold. Getting cold in the South, especially during the summer, is quick and out of nowhere, like seeing a bird shadow on the road just ahead of your moving car. I didn't mind. It's nice to feel cold in a place so hot. A place thick with humidity and bright sun. All I could hear, for I'm not sure how long, was the thunderstorm. It screamed at me like it had something to say, like I'd be able to understand. The beeping wasn't anywhere anymore. I could feel that in my heart, and Toria was right behind me, just on the other side of the now closed sliding glass door. She looked good, like she'd gotten significantly better in the few minutes it'd been since I'd seen her. Her hair like a light bulb again, her soft face like a moon, and her eyes like blue lighthouses. The best I'd ever seen her look. I felt an excitement and wanted to jump up and down and tell her, really, how good she looked. I tried and I couldn't. I don't know why. My shirt was wet, my hair dripping without stopping, like each curl was its own hose and my whole head was a spigot. She walked across the yard, away from my house in the direction of the river, barefoot on pine cones and oak roots and even cypress knees, walking like none of it hurt. Her hair was dry. The rain didn't touch her. There was lightning but no noise. There was knowing but no connecting. There was pain but no face. A dumb thud on the sliding glass door behind me, then another. The rain was a kind mist now. I turned away from the backyard, tired, and saw the vacuum cleaner bumping into the sliding glass door, clumsily finding its way back to the charger.